So I beat porn star back, and I don't even know what we're going to talk about for this. Well, actually, I do know, but I'm gonna, today I did a bit of a different camera angle. Like a lot of my cheap trolls uh, and detractors, they complain about, oh, this guy has terrible camera angles, this, that. And I don't give two shits, man. I mean, it's not about me looking beautiful. I mean, I do look beautiful. I'm sexy as hell. I'm handsome, sexy, charming. We all know that. But I mean, I could do the beauty filters and all that. But what's the point? It's also gay. Everything is artificial. Yeah, I'd rather just take the damn video and. But I got all these, tripods and all these things sitting around. I figured I'd use them today. We'll see how it goes. Uh, but it's. Oh, let's check if the thing is connected. Well, okay, because I got a whole bunch of devices connected here. So yeah, people, complain about that. So I figured I'd just do this. Like fucking losers find a reason to whine about the littlest things, man, I'll tell you. And you know what's funny? You know what? I want to talk about this before we get into the video. A lot of people, the desperation these days is so, it's like, there's this guy, Fat Ben. We all know he steals reviews from my sites and all that, and we all know that and he still doesn't make any money. We know that. And he turns it around on me like, women, and we'll talk about that. They accuse you of what they are themselves. He's been copying my stuff for years. Nobody cares, And but it's so pathetic, man. I mean, on X, I see these guys. Literally, X is nothing but bots these days, and drop a hi if you want to follow back. And Ben Bird, you'll see his whole timeline. It's either about me or it's about hi, follow back. And he's got a whole bunch of these bots following him, and it's just so gay, man. I mean, it's unnatural. It's, What's the point? They're not going to do anything for you. I mean, do you think you can show, well, you got X number of followers? Well, those followers are all fucking bots. We all know it. I mean, And 5% of them are the moles that have been reactivated. Anyway, that and the rest of them are liberal garbage women, basically. Anyway, that out of the way, let's see what else do I need to talk about, rant about, get off my chest, my sexy chest. Oh yeah, Asian parents. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to theme this video, or middle class parents, I don't know, but it's a question, people ask. Anyway, I was talking to May this morning. She was sending me photos of herself. And the first one was sexy as hell, man, I gotta say. And normally when I send her, text to that effect and all that, she responds with, oh my God. But she likes it. But anyway, they were beautiful pictures. I told her the story of Ashley and how, it was funny. I mentioned this on the website, but I dated this girl named Ashley. And in short, the whole story is there on the website. But what's funny is she wanted to go on a date. Now, I've been very open about the fact I never go on dates. It's a waste of money. I mean, I get the important stuff out of the way. And then, you can do the gay stuff and if you want. But But she kept saying, and I'm like, my housemate is coming. I can't go, and I mentioned this before. And hey, I love maids. I can't help it. I mean, they're nice and submissive. They're real women. And, and Ashley was like, oh no, I'll do the cleaning. And I'm like, no, you don't want to do it. You don't need to do it. I mean, she can do it. And long story short, she bitched up a storm So she did it, and she did a terrible job. There was hair all over the place, and it was classic. She was squatting down next to the toilet and the porcelain bowl, and she was looking at me like this. Nobody liked to do this. I'm like, you said you wanted to do it. Now do it. I mean, you didn't have to. And she's like, I want you to help me. I'm like, what? I'm actually hiring and paying somebody to do this shit work, and you're saying you want me to help you? Why? Make that make sense. But anyway, um, so then we went on a day, boring movie, we watched it, and she was kind of boring, so I didn't really. Now, with certain girls in the movie theater, man, it's like, hot. It's hubby porn star in there. But with her, it was kind of like, in the middle, sort of. So I didn't really. So I watched the movie. With Carol, it was like Carol used to tell me when we used to watch movies, you even watch movie. You're just interested in me. It's like, yeah, that's. Anyway, uh, yeah, anyway, because, I'd be grabbing a tits and thing, all that. But I've done all these things in theaters, man. I mean, my life, I told you. But uh, uh, yeah, so we went home, then we were in the car. She had this big ass car and she dropped me back home. And that's another tip, by the way, guys. If she asks you your address, she's interested. But anyway, so she drops me back home and I kiss her goodnight. And she's like, so I go to kiss her and she moves away like this. I'm like, why? I was like, what happened? And she's like, my mom tell me, good man kiss on cheek, bad man kiss on cheek. I mean, it's been so many years, man. That's one of the most classic things I've ever heard from a woman. And, it's hilarious. It's funny. Her mom apparently told her that. But, yeah. So, Asian parents, right? I mean, so May, suddenly, out of the blue, while I was explaining shisha bars and all these things to her, and, hookahs and tobacco and this and that, and she's like, well, I don't really smoke. And I'm like, well, girls shouldn't be smoking. I don't like girls that smoke. But she's like, I need a beer today. And yeah, the occasional beer is fine. I'll let her do that. But, then, we were talking about certain things. But then suddenly, out of the blue, and this is really the reason I wanted to do this video. Maybe I've done this before. Are your parents disappointed at you? I'm like, what? Left field. I mean, parents? What? They find, like, no relation. No, I mean, nothing, by the way. I mean, like, we don't even talk. I mean, yeah, with my mom these days, but that's, but. And it's a typical gaslighting question, but I could tell she wasn't asking for that. She was asking because her own parents, and so I asked her this question, are your own parents? I mean, why do you ask me this? And it seems that your own parents are disappointed at you. Is this true? She didn't answer. And then I asked again, and she said, yes, my parents are disappointed at me because I have no kids, and I went to, I have no good job, and, for her. And I'm like, yeah, the kids, maybe you should have had kids, because China used to be so feminist, man. It's no longer that feminist, so now it's changing. Now, Chairman Xi, yeah, I think it's Xi. Chairman Xi has completely changed all the laws and all that. LGBTQ goes straight to jail. Women, after divorce, will no longer get a share of their husband's property. It used to be women would, marry Chinese men and they just, take their houses post-divorce. It was terrible. People have this garbage idea that feminism is bad in the West, and it is. But the garbage idea that it doesn't exist in certain countries like India and China, oh yeah, it's 10x worse in the middle classes especially. And even in the poor classes, the rich don't really give a shit. But the poor don't give a shit either. So they've changed all the laws. But Russia is the best. Russia, 2014, Putin, eternal respect. No domestic violence, nothing at all. If you, as a Russian woman, go to the police and say your husband is beating you, then the Russian police will say, well, he's your, he's your man, he's your husband. That doesn't mean they take it to extremes, but little domestic disputes. Uh, I literally had this case with my ex where we just jostled. And my family showed up saying, oh, we're gonna, do you want to go to the police against him? And she never went. And I'm like, yeah, if you think but because nothing happened. But I'm like, yeah, by all means. This garbage has been taken. When I was 19, my girlfriend, she was pissed off about some garbage, and she was punching me. So all I did was this. I held her hands like this, and that left marks on her wrist or something because she had pale white skin. She started yelling. Then there was a gay guy right next door, and he was really gay, and he called the police. Oh, domestic violence. That was none. Cops came. Nothing happened. First thing I told the cops is, hey man, ask her. You're not going to believe me anyway, so go ask her. And my girlfriend, she was like, no, nothing happened. It's been taken to giddy extremes, this feminist garbage. It happens here, it happens there, and sometimes you gotta smack women at the back of the head. They love it. They love that treatment. They like to be dominated. They want to be dominated. Ask any woman what she wants in bed. She'll say she wants her man to brutally take her, if she's being honest, and if she's into you. I'm not saying you should be abusive, but you have to lay down the fucking law. Women lay down the law all the time. You look at how women treat each other. They'll always lay down the law. It's always who's superior, who's inferior. That's just how it works with women. If you don't, a woman left to her own devices will self-detonate. She will self-destruct because they don't think. They have no constructive, logical thinking. They're all emotionally driven. They all like to be, protected by a man, and ultimately it's always a man that protects them. But anyway, so we were talking about that, and then I don't even remember where I went off in this rant. But anyway, so May said that, and then I asked her, are your parents disappointed at you, this and that? And then, I know they are, because there was some issue with her father, and she couldn't help, and, I'm like, it was financial, and I'm like, she's a woman. A father shouldn't be expecting a woman to help anyway, but whatever. I don't really know the specifics. I don't care to know. But it's funny. And and then I told her, May, I keep telling you, women and liberals accuse you of what they are themselves, and it was proven true yet again. But then I asked her, why? Why do you think all this? And she's like, oh, because, you do your own thing, and you write erotica, and you write fitness, and you do this, that, and you should be the CEO of a big tech company. You speak so well from America, blah, 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 I'm like, hey, it's typical. And then I asked her, why do your parents? And her parents say the same thing, that, she went to Germany and she studied there, so she should be this, should be that. And I had to explain to her this middle-class thinking. Middle-class parents, especially, and this is the reason I'm doing this video, Asian parents, not so much Western parents, but it's hypocrisy because these Asian parents all want to be white, but they only want to pick up the feminism from the whites, but they don't want to pick up the thing of be free and do your own thing from the whites. White parents are nowhere near, and even black parents, nowhere near as rabid about their kids doing their own thing as Asian parents are. Trust me, so-called traditional fucking Asian middle-class parents are cancer. So-called traditional, because it all goes on behind the scenes. But you know, so I told her that, hey, look, May, and I say this about myself, you didn't choose to be born, they birthed you. And she's like, well, but I got the opportunity to go here, go there. And I'm like, well, everybody gets opportunities. I keep getting comments from losers. You are where you are because of this and because of that. Well, everybody is here because of this and because of that. And you speak so well because you're America or American or whatever. You went to college or whatever the hell they excuse. You speak Chinese because you went to China. Yeah, if you went to China, you couldn't learn Chinese yourself. Nobody taught me. When I went to America, when I showed up, I mean, at that age, all my relatives said nobody would. I mean, it was a completely alien culture. I had no idea. I had to blend in. It was either sink or swim. Guys couldn't understand me saying good morning. That was how terrible. I mean, not terrible, but that was how fucked it was. And because I had this heavy tick, I had to change it. And then 3 months later, my uncle, who had been there for like 30 years, he was like, you did in 3 months what we couldn't do in 30 fucking years. Fact. Go ask him. It's not a free ticket. Nothing in life is a free ticket. We all get opportunities. We use them or we don't. Losers will whine about, winners getting opportunities. They get them too. They just don't take them. And so I told May all this, and I was like, parents being disappointed. That's a double-edged sword, Now, you're not a tool. I've spoken about how I was raised to be a slave to women and all this other stuff, and I've spoken about it, from the age of, and I never did it, and so there, but, I always turn around and say that you gotta look at the whole situation, you gotta analyze it, everything, not just nitpick, cherry pick one aspect of a situation, and you gotta analyze it overall. Nothing is, everything is nuanced. You can't just, it's life. It's not a fucking, it's not a bottle of water. It's life, So you got to do that, but they don't do that. And I asked her, you should ask them that they should be asking you, are you disappointed in us? And I'm like, and I told her that, and she couldn't understand that. Now, I want to make one thing clear. If you're doing your own thing, if you're working extremely hard, but it's something other people don't agree with, or they think, they have no faith in it, or they think, it's never gonna, hey, Jeff Bezos, before he started fucking Amazon, was told the same thing. Everybody that eventually made it big was told the same fucking thing, So to say disappointment, people want results now. They're not willing to wait. They're not willing to put in the work. They're not willing to endure the hardship. And it's a lot harder now than it is, in the past. That's just a fact with AI and everything else. And, so you have to look at what, in her case, I would say, yeah, the kids maybe, yeah. But, then again, I don't know her full story. I don't know the situation. I don't know if they could, because her husband and her, I don't know. I don't know, finances and this and, but to ask this sort of question is a typical female liberal question, gaslighting. Women will tell you this all the time. Oh, your mother will be disappointed at you. But they'll never say your father will be disappointed at you. It's always mother. Why the fuck is it always mother? Why not? I was thinking about this yesterday. There's Mother's Day. We have Valentine's Day and all these other, Women's Day and also, but who remembers Father's Day? I mean, does anybody even know what that is? Who remembers what dad is? Dad's just a fucking tool. Just use him. I mean, yeah, it's men Uh, and so, when I turn that question around and say and tell these women that your father would be disappointed in you, they just block you or they won't answer. Or, but it's garbage. Now, on the other hand, if you're a person that's like, let's say, fat man, fat, lazy, constantly complaining about ADHD, sciatica, stupid enough to jump off a cliff, and then you break your legs because you thought, you're a bird, because the guy identified as a bird, literally, so he thought he could do, literally, that's how stupid this guy is, and he could land, and he didn't. Uh, what the fuck? Who would jump off of a cliff? I mean, it's like the people, before airplanes were invented, some idiots would jump off of buildings like this and we could fly like birds. I. So this guy, yeah, if you're like that, then yeah, your whole generation, family, everybody will be disappointed at you. That's different because you're a lazy fuck that does nothing. Uh, but you have to, because he's fat. I mean, let me speak for men, okay, in this regard. If a guy is fat and out of shape, then I have no respect for him. Regardless of everything else, if a guy is in solid, superlatively excellent shape, if he's that guy, money, is a different thing. Uh, if he's always got girls around him, if he's got a nice wife, I wouldn't, regardless of what he does or doesn't, I think, I would treat him differently. It's different. And, the thing is, with a lot of middle class parents, they have this thing of, oh, too much riches is too bad. And I was always told, you're so ambitious, this, that, and like it's bad to be rich or something. And nobody wanted me to be rich because if I'm rich, then, they lose control. Then I got more than them. It's that simple. That's middle class thinking. That's, But the thing with Asian parents, man, what I find so hypocritical is that they're extremely liberal, the middle class. They follow everything whites do. They have this colonial mentality, blah blah blah. But they only cherry pick. So they cherry pick the feminist part, which is garbage. This is what I keep saying. Countries like India, not so much China now, but India. They take the worst of the West and amplify it, multiplied by 10, and none of the remaining good. But, but none of the openness of the West, none of the, do your own thing kind of thing of the West. So I don't know. I mean, if someone asks you, are your parents disappointed at you? Well, you have to look at it two ways. Are you disappointed at them? I don't know. I mean, you could be, it's a double-edged sword. You gotta look at, the whole picture. And I asked her, why shouldn't I write a car or fitness or whatever I do? No answer. I asked her, why should I be the CEO of a big tech company? I mean, what am I gonna, I'll just be part of the cabal. I mean, they're just gonna control me that much more. I'd just be a slave, a corporate slave. You wouldn't see me sitting here like this, making videos like this. I'd have to wear a fucking suit and tie and go to, what would I get from that? Let's assume I actually did follow societal programming, and let's assume I actually did what everybody wanted me to do, and, what would happen? I'd never have the experiences I have. I'd never have the stories I have. I'd never be the interesting, sexy, charismatic, smart guy that I am. I'd never have, I mean, maybe I'd still have a few girls and all this, but I'd never have, the number I do, because, I wouldn't have that white aura actually about me. So Like, I'd be, slaving away at a corporate job, and they're not gonna, those days are long gone where, factory workers could buy their families a house. If you used to work in a car factory, you could buy you could sort of live a decent lower middle class lifestyle. Those days are long gone, man. I mean, these days it's just slavery. They'll fire you at any time. They're gonna, replace you with people from India. They're gonna, you're just gonna be a slave to the system. You're gonna spend 10 to 20 years working there. You're not gonna go meet any girls. You're not gonna enjoy your life. You're not gonna do anything. Then you'll get finally, most guys will cope by finding a fat feminist bitch who will control every aspect of your life. That's what would have happened if I, chose that path. I knew it instinctively. I didn't know everything I know now, but knew it. That's exactly, which is why I never listened to them. I never. Exactly why I never, listened to all the garbage that I was programmed with since birth. And so back to it, parents disappointed. To me, it's a double-edged sword. Because, okay, your parents have to teach you. Like, if you have feminist parents as a guy, then you cannot say that you're disappointed that the guy did not follow your feminist garbage, because that's illogical. You cut it any which way you like, but it's illogical. We've discussed this before. Now, if you have a masculine father, if you have, that actually teaches you masculine things like, changing a car tire, fixing an engine, I don't know how to box. I mean, in my like growing up, and I'm sure it was the same for her, but I don't know. I mean, I was never taught, no physical fitness, nothing. It was all. And when I wanted to learn, when I wanted to play sports, it was like, oh no, those guys are much better than you. I mean, it was the programming to keep me down was just instilled in me. So we used to, when I was in I was in India at a certain, this festival where you throw water balloons at people, and it's garbage, it shouldn't be done, but we were young, we did it. Oh, that other guy has such a better aim than you. But my mother would not tell me how to improve my own. When I got bullied in school, I'd get mocked at home. He doesn't know how to fight. Well, I had nothing in me, because at home, every time I fought and kicked somebody's ass, I got my own ass kicked at home. And my dad told me that. You beat somebody up at school, you'll get beaten. But he never said, what if the other person does it? It's gay garbage. And so it's horrible, so if you have that kind of upbringing, which May did, I would say, they might be, but they're wrong. And you might be, and you're probably right, I mean, but this problem, I've noticed, exists more with Asian parents. Not so much in the West, Asian parents. But then you have to analyze it and you have to look, because during those times, not so much now, but Western governments were very liberal. So even if your business fails or whatever, you get money from the government. It's all ending now. But yeah, that's something I wanted to get off my chest. Like, it's always, like, kids didn't choose to be born, right? You birthed them. I mean, unless it was done, in one of my daughter's case, by crook. But kids didn't choose to be born. So if you just view a child as an investment and a tool, then, in most cases, yeah, it's going to work out. But in some cases, he's that guy, the X factor. It's not going to work. Because you can't control everybody. There's some people that rise above all this garbage. It takes a lot, but they do it. And so, you can attack them, but logically speaking, they're in the wrong. And that's the rant for today. Uh, I hope the camera angle was better. I don't know. I just used this fucking tripod or whatever I've got. And see y'all later.